Hi, and welcome to the Made of Dreams podcast. I am so happy you're here. If you're pursuing something in your life, following your dreams full-time, or when there's time, you're in the right place. On this show, we have conversations that inspire you to keep going, help you embrace where you are, and see a bit of others' creative process. A little wellness, a little woo-woo, and a lot of heart. So hi, I'm Ashley, songwriter, mom, hairstylist and wife, but more importantly, your new friend on a mission to create a space for all the people who have always just wanted more. More joy, more balance, and more creativity. So stick around and let's dream on. Hello, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Made of Dreams. I'm your host, Ashley Riley, and I am so excited to be back. It's been a minute. I'm not even going to pretend like it hasn't. And I have truly missed podcasting. It's been creeping up on a year, and in that time, I created a folk duo called the Magnolia Janes with my friend Sarah Bonsignor, and we recorded and released an album which debuted at number 1 on the folk charts, and we actually just found out it was in the top 20 for the year of 2024, number 17. And that was pretty freaking awesome. So we did a little tour, did a lot of music. Last year was just really music heavy. This year will be as well. And I am wanting to balance all of that and get back to podcasting because I truly love it. And like I said, I missed the connection and the deep conversations and the conversations about creativity and living your best life. And anyway, it's 2025 and this year has come in not gently. You know, you come in like gung-ho for a new year and a fresh, clean slate, and then all of a sudden it's like, wow, this year is not playing around. I do follow some astrologers, and they're all like, yeah, we kind of told you guys this was going to be a transformative year, a year of clearing and all of that, and I definitely am feeling it. I could ramble on about that forever. But what I would like to say is I tend to think in seasons in terms of producing and being creative and that kind of thing. If I don't take time to kind of hibernate and fill my own cup, then I feel like I'm not doing my best work, not feeling my best. I start to get a little irritated and annoyed, and I just know that about myself. So I'm totally fine not being productive all the time and wearing like the busy badge that people like to have. I am good at relaxing, totally fine with that. But what is not great is where I get to a point where I just don't want to do anything. So I'm crawling out of that little dip, and I think what's helping me with that is finding beauty and finding love. People like to quote Mr. Rogers, who famously said, "Look for the helpers," and that's definitely a great way to go about life. And I also would add to that to look for the love and look for the magic in the community. And I have seen people helping each other when they can and lifting each other up and just loving each other through tragedy and through hardship. And it's beautiful to see. And it really does matter, and community matters, and community online matters, and community in person matters. Some of the greatest friends that I have, I've met online, and I would have never met them, I don't think, had it not been for online communities that we were both a part of. But it's really special if you can be in your local community and find the love that way too. It's not in Facebook comments. A lot of times on news articles, don't look for love there. You will not find it. But that is kind of what it's all about at the end of the day. So without further ado, I'm going to jump right into today's episode with Melissa Mulligan, who I also met in an online community. And she is a ray of light and a force of nature. And you're going to love this interview. So stick around. And at the end of the episode, I will also share a song from the Magnolia Janes, so don't miss out. And it's so good to be back and to be connecting with the Dreamer community again. Enjoy the episode. Melissa Mulligan is a vocal coach, music career consultant, and the owner and founder of the online music academy Music Career Mastermind. She has been obsessed with helping musical creatives achieve their goals for more than 2 decades. As a voice and artist development coach, she has worked with artists such as Jack from AGR, Coley O'Toole from Green Day and We the Kings, Chelsea Cutler, Jeremy Zucker, Reed Shannon, Jordan Pundick of Newfound Glory, Haley Knox, and thousands more. Her clients have topped the charts, signed to major record labels, toured sold-out stadiums all over the world, won platinum and gold records, performed on all late-night and daytime talk shows, and attended prestigious music programs such as NYU, USC, Belmont University, and Berklee College of Music. Melissa recently launched a brand new podcast called Chartless, sharing in-depth conversations and interviews with recording artists navigating this uncharted landscape. Melissa, welcome to Made of Dreams.
Thank you so much for having me. What a treat.
Yes, I'm so happy to talk to you today. I've been following you and your work, and we actually connected online in a class that we were both taking, and it's been exciting to see what you're doing, and I've always wanted to know a little bit more, so I definitely wanted to get you on the show.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. First, though, I do have a couple getting to know you questions. They're a little rapid fire, so just the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
All right, so you have to sing karaoke. What is your go-to song?
Midnight Train to Georgia.
Hey, that's a good one. Okay. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Coffee, same. Cheers to that. Is there, now you're a musical artist yourself as well as a coach. Was there an artist or a genre or anything that made you want to get into music?
Every song I ever heard, every drum beat I ever heard in any parade, even as an infant, anytime I heard any sonic music of any kind, it was like my cells just went, oh, here we are.
Awesome. That is wonderful. I love to hear that. Do you remember the first concert that you went to?
Yes. Okay. So as a kid, my parents took me to see Sha Na Na, which was a television show that I loved. And I thought I was going to see the show. I didn't realize it was going to be this like doo-wop concert. But the first concert that I chose to go to was Aha, who had that big hit Take On Me.
Yeah,
They are still a huge obsession of mine. I just got the new vinyl box set this year.
that's awesome. Very cool. And I love that you specified the first concert you went to and the first that you chose, because those are two definitely different things for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, last getting to know you question. What is your most used emoji?
Oh, the orange heart.
Really?
Mhm.
Awesome. Is there any significance with orange?
Orange is my favorite color. Yeah, I just identify it. I don't know. I have to be a little bit different, right? So I'm always sending everybody the hearts, but it's like you have to know that it's me. It's specifically my heart. So I have an orange heart.
Yeah, I love that. I actually just recently started using the purple heart for some reason. I'm like feeling purple this year, and so totally get it. So I feel like I know a little bit more about you, but I have a couple more questions. What got you into helping artists?
Looking back, I think I always was driven to help artists. Even I think about when I was in high school, right? And in high school, if you're into music, especially at high school in the 90s, it's like you do musical theater, you do choir, and you take voice lessons. Like I did all the things. But there would be this end of year sort of talent show, and I would get all these creative ideas to pull my friends together and sort of music direct. What if we did this song, but we did it this way? And so I don't think I ever felt like, I still don't feel like I'm an authority and I want to guide you. It felt more like, I love all of you people, and I have all of these creative ideas for how you could get more involved and do this or do that. So I think looking back, it's just always been a part of who I am. Professionally, there was a period of my life where I performed for a living. I did the singer, songwriter, DIY recording artist and toured and traveled, and that's how I made my living. Over time, people would request, hey, do you do voice lessons? Do you do songwriting lessons? And so I went back to my original mentors and actually trained really hard so that I felt prepared anatomically to do vocal coaching. And it really started as a passion project first before I realized about 15, 20 years ago, I realized I actually love this more than anything else. I've ever done. And while I still write and perform for fun and for the love of it, that's become the passion project. And this has become the vocation, the calling that I feel like I'm answering. Yeah.
That's very cool. And it sounds to me like maybe you even have a vision for other people. Like you would put together your friends, and what if we did it this way? It's like you're good at putting the pieces together in that way, which is a major talent. That a lot of times I do think that artists have creative vision in a way that is a little bit smaller scale, if that makes sense. It's like the creative vision of this song and the creative vision of this, but like big picture, it can be a little bit harder to nail down what the direction is. And it sounds like with your creative road mapping, which is something that you help artists with, is that where you go into that kind of thing?
Yeah, you just brought up so many great things. Artist development, I feel like, is very misunderstood, and the term is used all wrong, in my humble opinion. So I always tell artists, if you're working with someone who's like, I have a vision for you, and they're taking your creative approach holistically and going, we got to niche you down. And I have a vision for you. And you're this, you're country with a hat on, and you no longer play guitar on stage. I see you as this sexy Ariana Grande thing. Like, if you're working with someone who's taking your creative spark and limiting you and going, based on where you are right now, let's take a fixed mindset approach and monetize what you're great at right now. That's not artist
Oh,
development.
yeah,
That's called
no.
sales.
Yeah.
That's different. And there's a time to do that. But that's not artist development. Artist development is, Ashley, you're telling me, I hear this all the time, my voice is good at this. My voice is good at that. My guitar playing is perfect for this. Well, that is all fixed mindset.
Yeah.
And what I can usually see is there's a little arguing for your limitations. There's a little bit of trying to monetize your limitations rather than expanding your potential. And so I don't see it as my job to say, have you ever considered singing jazz? My my job is more to say, you seem to freaking love jazz. Why are we not pulling some of that into what you're doing? Because it makes you so happy. That's my job. And that to me is development and coaching and guidance.
Wow. That's amazing. Even just taking what I said and flipping it to see the bigger perspective is amazing, which I definitely didn't mean the limiting kind, but hearing it said out loud, that makes so much sense. And I think that is going to be really helpful for a lot of people because a lot of times when people are at the level where they're starting to want to work with someone, they don't know what to expect.
Yeah. Hopefully, if you're listening and you're thinking of working with a coach, keep that in mind. You don't want someone who's like, I see this for you. And it's good to be open for sure to what other people say and reflect back to you. But you should be working with someone who's encouraging you to explore and go deeper within yourself and really expand your potential in all the ways.
Yeah, I love that you brought up growth mindset. And I think that it was interesting to hear you say it in a way of even an artist thinking, I'm good at this and this is what I need to do. Because I do think sometimes you might not realize that you are limiting yourself. And to bring in elements that you love, it doesn't mean, like you said, you don't have to sing all jazz, but you can pull from what you love. And that is growth and that is expansion. And that is really, really cool. So, do you feel like you have noticed a through line with a lot of the artists that you work with, like a pain point or something that everyone seems to struggle with?
Ooh, yeah.
I know we're
Yeah.
going hard this morning. I'm just
Yeah.
like diving in. I'm sorry.
These are such great questions. Artistically, the people that I tend to work with are original music makers. Not that I don't enjoy working with voices who sing all types of things, I do, but my expertise is really combining vocal interpretations of your own stories, your own musical roadmap. And so I pull in music production coaching to make sure that people are self-sufficient in creating what they want to create and not always relying on other people. So what I've noticed with original artists is there's often frustration around how do I get the ideas that are in my head to come out of my speakers in a way that makes me happy, whether I'm recording it myself or working with a collaborator or hiring someone. A lot of songwriters can hear the entire production in their heads and communicating that or getting Logic Pro to adapt to what you're telling it to do, right? There is that frustration for sure that I don't think enough artists really talk about. So let's normalize that it's not you. It's actually really frustrating for all of us to get a finished product that matches what is in our head. There's definitely a hunger that is sort of never satiated either, right? Like we say we make music for ourselves and we do, and we say if we could just touch one life with our music, that's enough. And it is. But also, there's a hunger for more. There's a hunger for more validation or legitimacy. There's a hunger to be respected by our fellow artists. And also to, let's face it, make a living so we don't have to have a day job that we hate. I would just say it's an endless, beautiful longing that we live with. For
Yes.
so many things, right? And it's also what keeps us going and what keeps us it's like this unrequited love affair, I think, that we sort of have our whole lives.
Yeah, thank you for naming that because I had this weird light bulb moment the other day when I was driving and I was just reflecting a bit on the last year that I've had. And I have done a lot of things musically in the last year with releasing an album and like getting on radio charts and doing really cool stuff that I was like, wow, I feel kind of validated this year. Like, I feel like I'm actually on this music path. And then I was like, what's interesting immediately I'm analyzing myself. I'm like, what's interesting though is that it took that stuff for me to feel like I'm on the path. Like, I think I thought that the music industry or music was something further away from me at all times. Like, I'm trying to grab it. And I'm like, I've been on this path the whole fucking time. Like, what? I've been on the path. I'm on the path. Other people would be like, you've been doing this. But it was weird to be like, why did that click something to be like, oh, yeah, you can do this? You know what I mean? I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah. So I run these mastermind groups for independent artists, and some are just starting out, just sort of launching their first recorded works, and others are like you, they've been doing it at a high level for a long time, and it's a great sort of cross section of the music industry today. And someone asked my advice on, like, how do I get into the music industry? And I was like, ta-da!
Yes. I love
Here
that.
we are. This is literally the music industry right here. Everyone here knows people who knows people, and you have Grammy-winning mentors in your midst, and all of these people, here we are. Congratulations. Like, no one hands you a toaster, no one hands you $1,000,000, but here we are. Yeah.
There's not like a pin that's like you're part of the, yeah, like
Yes.
you decide. And I think I'm like, wow, that took me a really long time. It's just interesting. And so I think we normalize that too a little bit. Hey, guess what? You're doing it. If you're playing music and you're out there, you're doing it.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. I'm curious if you have any stories of any time that someone had a major breakthrough or anything that would be super relatable to people who maybe are starting out, things that you think are important for people to know.
There's so many things. Well, I mean, here's one that comes to mind of a recent artist that I worked with this year. So he graduated from Berkeley, and I work with a lot of Berkeley students and Berkeley grads and people who want to go there and stuff because it's why it's like Disneyland for musicians. Very attractive place for a lot of people. What can happen in any college environment is you come out of it knowledgeable and equipped and working hard, but a little bit lost. Like, but who am I? Because I've been doing this stuff for a grade and to please professors and to keep up with my peers. And now, who am I? And so this artist had been working, doing everything he knew about music marketing and the algorithm and TikTok and all this stuff. And he went kind of viral, but for all the wrong reasons to all the wrong people. And I won't share his story because it's personal and he'll share it on his own, I'm sure. But when we started working together, I just had him stop doing things for the sake of making popular music or doing things that the algorithm would like, and to really go back to, like, How did you write songs when you were younger? Who did you want to be? Or what would, like you asked me, right? Originally, what made you want to write music? And like, why are you hiding the fact that you're a great piano player? Why are you just dancing, doing TikTok trends and stuff, right? So we really got him away from making something with mass appeal to please the industry and doing something that would appeal to his ideal person, his ideal listener. And not only has he converted more listeners and viewers into real fans, like joining his list, showing up to live streams, he just texted me the other day, OMG, I sold $1,000 in merch. Like he's never sold merch before. So that's huge. That's huge, right? To work less in a much more enjoyable way. Show up, everyone uses that word, show up authentically, but it takes time to curate what's authentic and what will work. And he's making the best music he's ever made in his life, and he loves it. He loves his music. He loves his fans. He's no longer feels like, oh, I'm just this robot trying to please an algorithm, and it's working. So I think it's really important to, again, get some help and mentorship around what you're doing and what's working and what isn't. But at the end of the day, please understand that your ideal fan is not an AI programmed algorithm. At the end of the day, your career can be changed by getting 30 to 100 people loving every single thing that you do. You don't need big numbers to change your life.
Yeah, it sounds like he's more fulfilled as well.
Yeah, and this is too hard to do if you're going to resent the process. Like if you want to resent your day to day, get a corporate job.
Yeah.
We need to find a way to really enjoy the journey and experience creative freedom. That's why we're doing this to begin with. And surprise, surprise, it's actually working better than anything else right now.
In my job as a stylist, I took a course on gua sha. What's that? Well, you've probably seen all the people on Instagram using rollers and stones in their skincare. That's based on gua sha, a traditional Chinese medicine practice that has been used for centuries to help people feel better. Wildling was created to support overall well-being with beauty solutions grounded in the connective force of plants, stones, and the cosmos. It was founded by 3 women, an acupuncturist, herbalist, and holistic esthetician, and let me tell you, the stones really are magic. They're made from sustainable Bien stone, which has over 40 minerals known for their healing properties. My favorite gua sha of all time is their Empress Stone, which fits perfectly in your hand and it helps to depuff your face and smooth out those fine lines and wrinkles. It's the perfect Botox alternative. And I always carry their Empress wand in my bag to help melt away jaw tension or get rid of headaches before they get bad. If you're interested in gua sha and want to try it out, head over to wildling.com, WILDLING.com, and use the code Ashley10 for 10% off of your order. Yeah, it is interesting how magnetic I think people become when they find their authenticity and share it, because that's what everybody wants. And I think that's why artists are inspiring, because people, they want to feel that too. So if you can take them along with you, I think it inspires other people. Anyway, I'm like, oh, it's making me tear up a bit, because I'm like, that's the point. And you brought up another interesting point, which is social media. And I don't know. What do you think? What is your advice for people to find, like you said, he went viral for the wrong reasons to the wrong people. And so it is interesting, like, what you think you might have to do sometimes to get the views. And I think sometimes maybe shifting the focus away from getting the views, like you said, and finding the authenticity. But once people are at that level, once they found it and they're posting, do you think that they need to create content on a consistent basis? Are there things that you're like, yeah, you got to do this and this and this, or just see how it feels?
When I work with an artist, the short answer is I don't think there's a one-size-fits-all approach that every artist needs to do.
Yeah.
If there was a blueprint, everybody be making it work for them. And the second that people go on podcasts and talk about best practices, all the platforms change the algorithmic rules and reward different behavior. So I don't worry about that. I don't worry about that. But I have a specific method that I take my artists through. And this sort of will but won't answer your question. So the first thing that we establish is, what do you want? Like, what's the unicorn jumping over the rainbow dream? Like, for you, is it touring? Is it creating passive income through selling merch and Bandcamp downloads, and staying underground? Is it getting music industry invested in you? And by the way, you need a massive fan base for that. So the fan base piece is fundamental for anybody. Do you want to get into sync licensing? What do you want? Because the real life career conversion that you're seeking requires very different presence on social media. So we start with like, literally in real life, what are you trying to build? Then we figure out who you are, what you want to say, what feels good to you, who your ideal audience avatar is that's on the other side of this stuff that you're going to make stuff for. And then we come up with a strategy. I do think you need to be consistent, but do you need a funnel where you're pulling people into an email list or a Patreon, or do you need to go broad and worry about views and listeners? Do we need to think about streaming? It's so different for everybody. And that's where my road mapping piece comes in. It starts with, what do you want? And then, who are you? And how do you best operate? And what sort of working rhythm can you sustain in your real life? Because there's a pathway for every artist. 100% there is a way for you. And if I showed you 25 artists that I've worked with who had major breakthroughs this year, you're going to see 25 different tactics and strategies because there are 25 different people all doing it a different way.
Yeah, I love that. I love that it's sounds like a holistic approach that really listens to what is sustainable for that artist. And I think that's important for people to know about and hear, because I do think a lot of artists, myself included, you just get in the grind. You know what I mean? You're just like writing songs. Well, now I need to play shows and now I need to do this. They're kind of maybe is a model of what you think you should be doing. And have you ever stopped to think, is that what you should be doing for what you
Right.
want?
Yeah, so many people are like, "I'm getting on YouTube now because I heard you're supposed to." And I'm like, "I never heard that you were supposed to, personally." No one came and told me Ashley needs to be on YouTube today. Like, what are we doing?
Exactly. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
I do like to think that with the internet, a lot of people, well, sometimes I will ask artists that I interview on this podcast, what's your preferred social media? Like, what social media platform do you love? And what one are you like that could go away and I wouldn't be sad? And it is interesting to hear people's takes, how long it takes them to create a reel or create the content, and you could make that your full-time job if you wanted. It's just people do that, they're content creators and then not necessarily musicians anymore. But I do like to think, even with all of that that we feel that we need to do until we know better, that it makes us limitless in a way. It blows the doors wide open, and I do think that's amazing for the music industry and any industry, even though sometimes with streaming and stuff it seems a little abysmal. But what's your take on that? I guess that's my take.
Yeah, I agree. Being able to go directly to fans through social media platforms and being able to share and express yourself artistically and inspire other people with just day-to-day moments of inspiration, I think is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. I love that a lot of the toxic gatekeeping has been massaged away in the era of streaming and indie distribution. I love that music listeners are all ages, right? Why do we believe that if you're over the age of 29, no one's going to buy your music? That's ridiculous. I'm not out there looking for the next 26-year-old music genius. Like, I'll listen to anybody, but I don't care. I want to listen to people telling stories from all different phases of life. And I think the world really does. So, yeah, I love a lot of the changes that have occurred. The financials of it are yet to be figured out in a way that are equitable.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is interesting, and I agree with you as well. Like, I will listen to any music, and I'm a music lover just in general, any genre. Like, I definitely feel open about all of that. But I will say the music that resonates with me at certain times is probably based on my age and my demographic and things like that, where it's like, I feel that. I don't always relate to something that like maybe the kids are doing right now, which, hey, that doesn't mean I don't appreciate it, but it's not where I'm at. And so I love that any age and any demographic, you can find what's out there for you.
Yeah.
So you do music masterminds, you do private coaching as well, vocal coaching, you're doing all of this. And just tell me a little bit more about your programs and what that kind of looks like for someone to work with you.
Sure. Yeah, I know my career has this awesome, I don't know, tripod at the moment, which is really cool and gives me a lot of variety. And living here in New York City, obviously, when I do in person vocal coaching with a recording artist, that's a very unique thing. So that's management is calling me in to get somebody ready and help run the rehearsals before they're going on tour. Or maybe I'm in a recording studio with someone trying to vocal produce slash vocal coach to get the takes that are just making everyone in the studio have goosebumps rather just done well. And then the way that I am probably most hireable is through the Music Career Mastermind programs that I run and some one-on-one online coaching as my schedule permits. So, Music Career Mastermind, right now, the program that we're running that I'm most passionate about is called the Launchpad. And that is for artists, producers, and songwriters, typically ages like 15 to 25. Although we do sometimes have younger and older, depending upon where they are in the launch process. But this is where you're with us for 3 months, me and the team online, and you are doing live music production coaching where you're sharing your screen and your audio. Our coaches can even take remote access of your session and co produce with you to really bridge that gap, right, between what you want to hear and what is coming out of your speakers. And then you're also doing live coaching with me and some other members of my team on your roadmap. What are your goals? What are the fundamentals of the music industry, music law, copywriting, social media, music release strategies, touring, booking live shows, networking, the whole 360 degrees, the artistic identity piece. And yeah, people sing for me too when we're in the live calls because I can't resist getting in and doing that with them. Yeah.
That's really cool. Also, I wanted to ask you, you just launched your podcast called Chartless. What made you want to do that? I love podcasting and conversations with people, and I'm curious, what was your why with that?
Whew. Okay, this is a deep one. You probably didn't even anticipate it. I have always wanted to do a podcast. I did a radio show for 3 years, like in 2005, 2006. It was a monthly radio show called The Songwriter Circle. I loved that. I used to do a pretend radio show on my swing set with my best friend when I was 6. So I've always been into community and broadcasting and talking about the lives of music makers. And I, for the last 2 years, have unexpectedly, I'm fine, but I unexpectedly was not feeling well. And it was one of those sort of scary healthcare journeys of it could be relatively nothing, you need some supplements, or it could be like autoimmune or cancer. You know what I mean? So it was really rough. It messed with my energy. Mental health was at an all-time challenge while being self-employed and showing up for everybody that I serve. And so once I finally found some energy again, I just asked myself, what do you want to do? You know, like nothing for money, nothing for the sake of business or branding, just Melissa, it feels like you want to make something. What do you want to make? Do you want to make an album? Do you want to play some shows? What do you want to do? And this is what I wanted to do. I was like, I just want to sit and have these conversations and share them with the people in my world and people maybe that aren't in my world yet. I don't know. It just dropped in as like, okay, this is your gift to yourself. You get to make this podcast now because you've wanted to for a long time and kind of haven't had the energy or the headspace to do anything new.
Yeah, it's kind of like you took that light that you shine for all of your artists and everybody else and like turned it on yourself and said, what do you want to do? That's awesome. I think that you're going to have so much fun and it's going to be great. I'm so excited for you. I love listening to podcasts and I love recording them and having these conversations. And I think we're craving connection. And I think that is why podcasting is so popular these days because we get to ask these questions and you have these conversations that you wouldn't have in everyday life. You just know when you sit down for a podcast that you're going there, you know?
Yeah, that's such a good point. It is such a good point when you sit down, like, the intention is, "We're gonna go there. We're gonna pull some deep truths out of the air right now in this time." That is so true. I did an episode with a friend of mine, and yeah, we talked about things that we never talk about. We asked each other questions that we normally don't ask each other in normal conversation.
Oh my gosh, same. I did an episode with a friend of mine, like 20 years of friendship or something like that. And I was like, I learned so much about you today. Melissa, I've loved this conversation so much. I just have a couple more questions for you. I love to ask people, what is the best part of doing what you do?
The best part of doing what I do. Oh, another easy one, the joy. What an honor to witness another creative person experience joy and those moments when they really appreciate themselves. I mean, how often do you get to see that? How often do you get to see somebody go, I did it. Look what I just made. Or, oh my God, I love this song, or I'm so happy with this, or I just sang with such freedom and it feels so good. And maybe I'm projecting, but I mean, I don't know any more joy for myself than when I've had those moments. And so witnessing that, oh, I don't know what I would do if I didn't have regular doses of that moment in my day. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an awesome job perk. And you definitely have to like grab those moments and appreciate them for sure because there's a lot of challenges too. All right, I've got a couple more questions. Do you have any lofty goals for yourself, career related or otherwise, for the new year?
Ooh, in the next year? Yeah, so I don't know Tim Pierce, but I love the guitarist Tim Pierce. He played on Crowded Houses records, and they're my all-time favorite band. So I just signed up for Tim Pierce's guitar course. I've been playing guitar for a very long time, rhythm guitar, but I've always wanted to be way better. And so I got a new guitar, and that's going to be something that I do privately for myself, but now I'm accountable because it's on a podcast. Yeah.
I love it. All right, last question. Where can people connect with you and follow you online?
So my website is Mastermind Road, like a roadmap. So mastermindroad.com. And the platform that I hang out on the most is probably Instagram. And I'm music underscore career underscore mastermind. Please do not go to a personal Instagram called melmulligan.com. I've been locked out of that for like a year. Every once in a while, people are like, I've been DMing you. I'm like, oh, sorry. That's just never going to happen. So music underscore career underscore mastermind. That's an easy place to catch up with me. And I'm on Threads and some of the other platforms and TikTok every once in a while, but my people tend to talk to me more on Instagram. So that's where I hang out.
Melissa, thank you so much. It has been such a pleasure to talk with you today, and I'm so excited for you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, you took me on some emotional journeys. Loved it. Thank you so much, Ashley.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Made of Dreams. If you're enjoying the show, please consider subscribing and leaving a 5-star rating and review. It really does help. If you'd like to learn more about me or the guests on the show, head on over to madeofdreamspodcast.com. And while you're there, sign up for the Dreamer's Digest and you will receive my Creative State worksheet. It's a list of my favorite tips and tricks to get you in a creative mindset. And now, here is Stones on the Road by the Magnolia Janes.